Hey there, I am coming to you in this fifth weekend of Lent, and the gospel reading this weekend is the story where Jesus raises Lazarus from the dead, and this is in John chapter 11, verses 1 through 45. And just to break down the story a little bit, Jesus is not in the same area that Lazarus is when he's ill, and Mary and Martha, his sisters, send a message to Jesus and tell him, hey, Lazarus is dying. And Jesus gets this message, and he has this relationship with them. He's very close to them, but still waits 2 days before going to Lazarus. And even in this time, Jesus kind of, in conversations with his disciples, alludes to the fact that a miracle is going to happen. He's going to perform something, and he does. And this is the last miracle that Jesus performs before his trial and ultimately his death. So Jesus gets the message. He waits 2 days before going, and by the time that Jesus gets to where Mary and Martha are, Lazarus had died. And there's this really cool verse that I think is really neat, and I'll break this down in a little bit, but it says, in verse 21, Lord, Martha said to Jesus, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But I know even now, God will give you whatever you ask. Jesus said to her, your brother will rise again. And Martha answered, I know he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day. So this story goes on, and they end up going to the tomb, and Jesus is saying, roll the stone away. And Martha says, Jesus, Lazarus has been in there for 4 days. Like, it is going to smell really bad. So while she has this faith that we just talked about in verse 21, she also kind of has this doubt a little bit, it sounds like. But they roll the stone away. Jesus calls out to Lazarus, and he walks out of the tomb. So he raises Lazarus from the dead. It's an incredible miracle. And when reading this story, it'd be easy to focus on just that miracle of Jesus raising Lazarus and bringing him back to life. But my heart was really with Martha and Mary in this chapter, and their faith that they have in Jesus. The faith that they know at this time, before Jesus has even died and raised again, he's raised from the dead. She has this faith in the resurrection. She has this faith that Jesus can do things, but she kind of puts constraints on it, like on what he can and can't do. And I was thinking about us and this time that we're in with social distancing and COVID-19 and our faith and the constraints that we can put on our own. But Jesus says to her in this one verse, did I not tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God? Jesus says this to Martha. And thinking about where we are and what's happening in the world, I just think about our belief. And if we can just believe in Jesus and believe that he can do all things, that we can't put constraints on what he's capable of doing, we can't limit those things, Jesus can do all things. Martha said, you're going to roll that stone away from the tomb, and it's going to smell really bad. It's a stinky situation, for lack of a better pun. But it is. We are in a stinky situation, but in that situation, Jesus made all things new in Lazarus, and he gave, the life was there again. And the same will be for us in this time that can feel really just upsetting and disappointing. We're having things taken away. Mary and Martha had their brother taken away. We've had lots taken away from us too, right? But I just want to encourage you that those lines that Jesus says, those words, did I not tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God? If you can just believe that in all things, Jesus can make all things possible, can do all things, and the glory of God will shine through. I want that to be your hope for this season. I hope you know that we are praying for you right now. Your leaders are praying for you all the time, your families, and we're here for you if you need anything. I hope you just hear that message echoed over and over. And just my prayer is that you believe that you will see the glory of God in all things, including these circumstances we're in right now. So with that, I also want to tell you about this week. On Tuesday, March 31st at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we are going to have a CCYG small group, And this is going to be based off of, there's an app called Move Closer. It is a black box with a white M in it. Move Closer is the app. And you can find that for Android and iPhones. And you download that app, and there's a bunch of video series. They are Christian scripture-based series that we're going to do a Bible study off of. So the one that I would love you to watch is from the Gospel series, and the first video, go ahead and watch that before Tuesday, and then we're going to chat about that together. If you have any questions, please text me, call me, email me, reach out. I'd love to help walk you through that if you need a little bit of help. But otherwise, guys, we're going to see you on Tuesday on Zoom. I will send you that email link, and we can't wait. I'll be thinking about you. I'll be praying for you. Peace.